Home. Date: December 17th, 2176. Time: 21:57:06:43. Stella and Hoshi were working the graveyard shift, scrolling the skies at the Orion Observatory. Classical music playing through the speakers, a song about doves crying. It was, technically, a dream job. Thousands of young and not so young astronomers applied to work here to join the teams, looking for neighbors in distant galaxies. To be part of something that not only looked through the lens, but actually went out there. To set up research stations on Mars, or to go to the nearby galaxies and map them from close up. To mine resources, or discover new elements, new laws of gravity. The possibilities were endless. At the observatory launch, they even sent a generation ship, the first and so far only of its kind, to the furthest edges of the known universe at the time of its launch, 102 years ago. It was also an incredibly boring job. After the first 1,000 black holes, or vacant planets, or even stars of every imaginable color you see, they tend to become a bit repetitive. Sure, it's still something fun to brag about. Having the potential to discover sentient life somewhere far away is always enticing, but mostly it's scrolling on a huge screen and data entry. It's the pinnacle of human space, observation and exploration, but it's also a pit where time goes to die. Tonight, though, the monotony broke a little with a message from the crew on the Betelgeuse. The furthest away manned ship, on a voyage to the edge of the known universe, light years away, but still tethered by the cord of humanity to home. Stella and Hoshi exchanged eager glances and downloaded the message as the lyrics thrummed with a very appropriate homage to the heat between them. Giddy almost, they played rock, paper, scissors to see who'd go to prepare the message and who'd stay to babysit the vast nothingness above them. Date: December 17th, 2176. Time: 21:59:36:57. Hoshi moved to the audiology lab to clean up the download. The universe may look quiet and empty, but it's surprisingly loud. There was always background noise to clean up. At times, it sounded like screaming. Not exactly what his ancestors had imagined, mused Hoshi, back when traveling through the stars was still the realm of fiction. People had consumed stories about explorers on huge starships, meeting and befriending species from different solar systems, even different galaxies, living relatable lives, albeit in very different circumstances, to themselves. Back then, they had a childlike hope that humanity would be the great heroes, everyone's buddy, that they'd somehow get past their infighting and hatred so they could soar towards the heavens, triumphant, admired, exalted. These days, there was less hope. Humanity hadn't become as enlightened or even as friendly as their ancestors had hoped. The society that rose from the ashes of the 2076 global war hadn't exactly gone on to live in harmony. They had never learned from their history, so they splintered against each other and ended up the victims of a war waged by the people with the most to gain from chaos. The survivors were now very aware of their place in the pecking order on a dying planet. Searching for life on other planets was less about finding friends now, and more of a desperate attempt at finding allies. Maybe this message would confirm they'd found reason to hope. Of course, it could be yet another automated update of the ship's location and a map of the surrounding area. He got the stellar cartography lab ready for an updated map on autopilot and hurried back to play the recording with Stella. It was only fair that they both got to hear it at the same time. Plus, the observation room had amazing acoustics, and the scent of her shampoo on the air was intoxicating. Besides, they had a bet going on. If the Betelgeuse discovered life, if it confirmed that humanity had reason to hope again, they'd go on a date. It didn't matter where. They'd go and spend a lost weekend, exploring all the carnal delights the world had to offer, culminating in a no-sleepover. It was a long-running joke between them. He very much wanted that date. It had been the best 3 years of his life, working with her. She was funny, sarcastic, and kind. She always had what she called pocket chocolate for emergencies. She said it with a straight face, but eyes that sparkled with mischief. She made him laugh every day. It seemed a bit crazy to think, but he could see them being endgame. Why wait any longer? You only need two things, timing and chemistry. They had chemistry in spades. He was going to ask her out tonight. Date, December 17th, 2176. Time, 22 hours, 9 minutes, 16 seconds, 31 milliseconds. Stella waited eagerly for Hoshi to come back. It seemed like he'd always been part of her life. He was her best friend. If she believed in soulmates, she'd say he fit the bill. They just got each other. If it wasn't for him, she would have quit this job 2 years ago. He made it worth it, breaking the mind-numbing monotony with his jokes and late-night talks of dreams. He made her interested in philosophy, not just science. Their stupid games and bets made her smile long after they went their separate ways. Coffee roulette was her favorite game. It was simple, really. They each contributed one decent coffee they were excited about and one that was the grossest one they could make. Then they'd swap and drink them. Winner was whoever could convince the other to finish the gross coffee. She was the reigning champion, with a triple caramel, double chocolate, pumpkin-spiced soy latte with marshmallow pump and tropical cream. She chuckled to herself, thinking of Hoshi, valiantly finishing that monstrosity. He was so adorable. The best bet, though, by far, was their one about the messages from the Betelgeuse. So far, it had only been automated messages, so if this was more of the same, she was just going to bite the bullet and ask him out. If not, then this was serendipity or fate or something. She couldn't wait to find out. She clicked through the different view screens, nearing where the Betelgeuse was stationed, excitement coursing through her veins. There had been some kind of solar flare activity there, so she'd best go investigate the flash of light that had been observed by an earlier shift. It might be what the message was about. Actually, she realized she should be seeing the ship now, but she wasn't, which was weird. Weird enough that she zoomed in on that section. As always, she was struck by the irony that both the observatory and generation ship were named for dead stars. Hoshi came back to the room, gave her a playful wink, and switched from the piped music, now something about being on the edge of glory, to the audio playback option, and joined her. Date, December 17th, 2176. Time, 22 hours, 11 minutes, 24 seconds, and 17 milliseconds. A voice boomed out as both of them looked for the Betelgeuse. If this message reaches Orion, this is Captain Danica Sterling of the starship Betelgeuse. Stella and Hoshi exchanged looks. The crew almost never sent actual messages. It meant they'd be having that date for sure. Their hearts pounded with anticipation. A not-so-secret smile played across both their faces. We have completed scanning Sector G. Attached are maps of the area. There are some M-class planets nearby. We have been able to thoroughly investigate the surfaces for signs of life. On screen, they located the Betelgeuse, or at least what remained of it. There were vast sheets of metal floating next to heavily damaged cryopods, the occupants frozen in eternal slumber. A crackle cut across the voice message again, their hearts still pounding, but no longer in anticipation. Dread wove its fingers along their spines. We have also found that our current location is as far as it is possible to go. We have run multiple tests to confirm our initial findings. Stella frantically scanned for heat signatures, while Hoshi scanned for escape pods. This couldn't be happening. It just couldn't. Chests tightening and heaving, they contained their panic as best they could. There are no signs of life on any of the planets we have encountered since our departure, though several appear capable of sustaining it. Nothing. There was nothing left. No escape pods had been used. Everyone who had been on board had perished. What happened? Panic now freely coursed through Stella and Hoshi. They were frozen in place. The recording crackled again and then continued. We confirm that we cannot proceed any further. There is no place left to go. There is nothing. We are also unable to return home with our remaining resources. There was another crackle. It seemed louder now, though the volume itself hadn't changed. Due to the nature of our findings, we face no alternative but to initiate the self-destruct sequence. We cannot continue with nowhere to go. Stella and Hoshi sat in horrified silence. Self-destruct? Tears streamed down their faces, neither of them aware of it. It wasn't a solar flare that flashed on the sensors. It was this. Suicide. Orion, if this message reaches you, we are alone. Goodbye. Date: December 17th, 2176. Time: 22:16:05:13. Transmission ended.